We have a number of engines in the museum with this name, but this is actually one of the best displayed. It's called the Rolls-Royce Merlin, surely one of the most famous aircraft engines in the world. This is in fact a late development known as the Type 61, which was originally designed to power a very high altitude version of the Vickers Wellington, which in fact actually never went into production. The Merlin story starts back in the late 1920s, when Arthur Rowledge, designer of the earlier Napier Lion engine, but by then with Rolls-Royce as its chief of design staff, developed a power plant for R.J. Mitchell's Supermarine seaplanes that were competing for the Schneider Trophy. Known simply as the Rolls-Royce R, it was a huge 37-litre V12, churning out more than 2,000 horsepower. As such, it was just too large to be fitted to the new range of fighters then being designed. So in 1931, Sir Henry Royce agreed to fund a new engine, using Rolls-Royce money. Initially known as the Private Venture, or PV-12, it combined the advanced features of the R-Type, but in a 27-litre V12 layout developed from the earlier Rolls-Royce Kestrel. The PV-12 first ran in October 1933, with its initial flight in a Hawker Hart biplane testbed 16 months later. By then, both Mitchell's Spitfire and Sidney Cam's Hurricane were being designed around the engine, which was given the name Merlin after the bird of prey. Early Merlins had a number of technical challenges to overcome, and the initial versions showed some deficiencies compared to their German counterparts in the initial part of the Second World War. A fuel starvation problem during dogfighting manoeuvres was temporarily solved by a simple fix devised by Brooklands champion motorcyclist Beatrice Schilling, then working at Farnborough. More permanent improvements were made by mathematician Stanley Hooker, who, as newly appointed head of supercharger development at Rolls-Royce, redesigned the Merlin supercharger arrangements in a number of phases. These culminated in the two-stage, two-speed Type 61, which, when eventually fitted in the Spitfire Mark 9, could outperform the German opposition. Ultimately, more than 168,000 Merlins of many different types had been built by the time production ended in 1950. Slightly more than half of these were built by the car companies, Ford in Britain and Packard in the United States, using production line techniques rather than the more traditional Rolls-Royce methods.